The plan for today is to cross off yet another item on my crochet bucket list, and that thing is filet crochet. So filet crochet is one of those things that I've been wanting to try for a while, and I even put it on my, I think, crochet bucket list video several months ago now. I think I put it on there. If I didn't, I meant to. But anyway, it has been something I've wanted to try for the longest time. The problem is, the only thing that I know about filet crochet is that it looks gorgeous. And from what I can glean from pictures I've seen on the internet, you sort of pair a mesh stitch with solid stitches to make, intricate designs. Those of you who are more familiar with filet crochet might have some thoughts on that, but that is my very, very basic amateur understanding at this point. Now, what I could do, right, is go out, find a tutorial and learn filet crochet that way. But if you've been on this channel for a little while, you might know which direction this is heading in. That's right, before I do this the quote-unquote proper way, I do want to try and figure this out for myself. I want to have a crack at filet crochet without even looking at a single tutorial. So that is what we're going to do today. At some point in the future, I am probably going to look up how to do this correctly because I would like to learn that. But today is all about experimenting. Do you want to experiment with us, do you, Till? What I've done in preparation for this video is gone out and grabbed a graphic that I'm going to use that I will pop up on the screen here. Full disclosure, this is not my design. I did not create this. So any pattern I make is not mine either. So just so everyone is aware of that. But what I went and did to this cool image is, well, I went and made it really ugly. Like this. Wherever you see an orange, a yellow, or a red square, that is where I planned for my solid stitches to be. I went and made them different colors just because the original image that I used wasn't the highest quality, and I had a little bit of difficulty discerning, the individual squares, so I just broke them up with colors. There is no significance outside of that. So taking a look at this thing, there aren't going to be too many solid squares as of yet. I don't want to go and do something over the top to begin with because I have no idea what I'm doing. But hopefully as we progress in this video, I might figure out at least one or two things. So Tilly, you're gonna have to go on the floor for this, my little furry friend. So you go over there, play with your toys. Good girl. All right, so to do this, I've just grabbed out some scrap yarn, and this time we'll be rocking with a 5mm hook. Now my design that I picked out, I'm pretty sure it was 34 squares across. So let me double check that. That seems like a smart thing to do. 1, 2. So I counted that my grid is 34 by 34. If I want each of my solid boxes to be 3 double crochet, that means I'm going to need 3 stitches or 3 chains per box. So 34 by 3 is 60, 102. I should probably check that. I should definitely check that. My math skills are not good to rely on my brain alone. So let me get the calculator up. 34 times 3, 102. Okay, I was right. We can cut that bit and just pretend I'm a genius. All right, now 102, but then plus an additional 3 chains for my turning chain. So all up, I need to chain 105. So I hope I have enough yarn for this project. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is just scrap yarn I've pulled out, and this is an experimental project. So it doesn't matter if I'm using the exact same yarn throughout the project, I don't think. All right, 1, 2, 3. 20. And one thing that I like to do when I'm making really long chains is just pop in a stitch marker at certain intervals. So whether that's every 10 chains, every 20 chains, just in case I lose my place, because that happens a lot. So I'm doing every 20 here. That was 100. I'm not going to bother putting a stitch marker in there, but we're going to go 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. Okay, so I've got my 105 chains For row 1, my first row of squares, I just want to do 102 double crochet back down the chain. Here is my very first row, and if everything goes according to plan, that should be my last entirely solid row until the very last row. So, checking in with my little uglified graphic design that I made. Well, I uglified it. I didn't make it as we went over at the start. But checking in on that, the first and last square of every row should be solid. So that means to begin each row, I need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn my work, and then I'm going to crochet 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. So that's to start me off, but I think, did I miscalculate? Because I think I need 4 chains for every mesh panel stitch I want to do, because it's 3 chains across and then a double crochet in the 4th. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of frogging all my work, I'm going to see what it looks like if I do 1, 2 chains, skip 2, and then double crochet in the 3rd. Like, it's going to be a bit narrower than I originally thought. So if I go 1, 2, 1, 2. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. It's definitely narrower, but it didn't have to be exactly like 3 double crochet wide. That was just sort of a number I came up with because I had done that with mesh panel stitches before. Yeah, so just to save myself a bit of time and hand pain, I'm not going to frog this. I'm just going to continue on, but I'm just going to adjust slightly. So I'm going to do 1, 2 wide and then just skip 2 stitches rather than the 3 I was initially planning. So yeah, the effect that will have is that my pieces will be like slightly narrower. So for this experiment, I don't think that matters all that much. Or am I just like telling myself that to console myself? Ah, bloody hell. It's so annoying when you do stuff like that. Oh well, can't be helped now. Well, I mean, it could be helped, but helping involves frogging, and I don't want to do that. All right, so I'm just going to finish off my first mesh or partially mesh row here. Row 2, a little bit of a misstep because of my stupidity and miscalculation, but you know what, this worked out fine. So I need to do 4 more rows of just my mesh panel stitching here, and after that we can begin the dinosaur, which I think is going to pose its own separate challenge. I've got my first 6 rows. Now I need to add in the first few solid squares that'll make up my dino's feet. So if I consult the graph once more, so I'm going to start with my 1 solid square on the end. 1, but then I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mesh stitches. All right, let me get those out of the way first. Rather than doing this in bulk, I think it'll be easier if I break it up into sections. So after my 10 first mesh stitches, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solid stitches. So to create my solid squares, all I'm going to do is put 2 double crochet in the chain space, but then my 3rd double crochet in the double crochet from the previous round. So that would be, well, that would equate to 1 square. No, I didn't do too many. I thought I did too many stitches there. 5. And there is 2 mesh stitches in between the base of the feet. So I need to add in chains and a double crochet. And then once more, 2 chains, double crochet. And then I'm guessing another 5 for the other foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 6 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. May as well you don't assume things. After that, we should be finishing the row on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mesh. So we're going to do 9 more mesh stitches, and I want to finish with my one solid one for the border. Well, I think we're off to a good start. Whether it is a correct and accurate to filet crochet start is another matter entirely, but like, I'm happy with that so far. I think this is not going to be a difficult project. The hardest thing for me though is going to be to remember to place the solid stitches where I need them, because like that just happened there. You know, you get into the zone of doing one thing and your hands just like operate via muscle memory while your brain checks out a little bit. Or is that just me? I think that's going to be what trips me up most in this pattern. But yeah, from now on, all I really need to do is just continue adding to my grid, alternating between the mesh stitches and the solid stitches until I get the outline of my dinosaur. And just keep your fingers crossed for me that I have enough yarn to do this. I don't think I do, which is why I grabbed out a second colour in the same yarn weight, another just from the scrap bag. It would be nice if I had enough blue to complete the entire thing. I'm just not that optimistic. Okay, on to row number 8. We're about to start row 14, and spoilers, I don't think we're going to be finishing this entire thing in blue. I did find a little bit more of the same blue. I've got like a little tiny additional cake here, but that's definitely not going to get us through. I am hoping now that this might just be enough to get us to row 17, because at least that'll be the halfway point and I can do half in the blue and like half in the purple. But even that, I don't know, we might just fall short. I've never really been great though at judging how far yarn will go. That's just not a skill I have. So maybe I'm wrong and I will get to row 17, but the only thing I can really do is crochet and find out. So what do we need to start off row 14 with? I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mesh stitches after the first solid one, of course. That is round 17. We made it with a little bit to spare. So now I'm going to swap over to the purple. I could keep going in the blue, but if I'm going to do split colours, I'd rather have them even than have more blue than purple. So yeah, we'll go 17 rows and 17 rows. I do have like thoughts on my not quite filet crochet so far, but I think I might save them all to the end. So I'm going to finish off these final 17 rounds in the purple, of course, and then we can discuss. I've just finished row 27, and that was the last row of my dinosaur. So there will be no more solid squares for him or her or them, whoever my dinosaur happens to be. But for the remainder of this panel, all I need to do is create my mesh squares in the center and just maintain the solid border I've got around the outside. And then for my final row, I'm going to replicate what I did in the first row and just do an entire row of solid stitches. So an entire row of double crochet. Well, I finished. Look, sometimes in crochet and in life, you fail. And I'm pretty sure this is one of those moments. I have some thoughts. I reckon I know a couple of the missteps I made, so maybe we'll just go over them in order. But before we do that, I want to say, like, as I was crocheting this thing, I was thinking to myself, you know, I don't think this is working out quite as I planned, but I was kind of hoping it would be like a similar circumstance to like my corner to corner crochet projects. Like when I'm working with the pixel graphics, like face to face, really close up, I don't think they look all that great from that shorter distance. But once you like take a step back and, you know, take in the whole thing, they do look a lot better, and I was hoping that would be applicable here too. Unfortunately, no. No, I don't think so. All right. So where did I go wrong? Now, obviously, as I said at the start of this video, I don't know how to filet crochet properly. That is something that I want to learn in the future. Today, I just wanted to have a bit of fun and try and, you know, work it out for myself. Which apparently I didn't do. Well, I did have fun. I enjoyed this process. I just don't think I actually worked out how to filet crochet properly. But where did I go wrong from my limited amateur understanding? Number one, I don't think I did myself any favors working in the two colors. Like the colors, I think they look nice together. I mean, obviously, but in this project it's just a little bit jarring. So yeah, I didn't do myself any favors there. Number two, as I was thinking about this project over the last few days, I came to the conclusion that doing the outline of the dinosaur in the bold solid squares and having the insides, with the exception of a couple of details like the mouth, the eyes, some stripes, having all those solid and the rest mesh, I thought that would look really cool. But no, I was quite wrong about that. You cannot even tell what this thing is supposed to be. So perhaps if I had done the entire dinosaur solid and just had the background in mesh, that would have been a better way to go. And the third thing that I think I did wrong was just the maths of the entire thing. You saw back at the start with my original chain, I made that in multiples of 3 when, to make the mesh stitches work out how I wanted them to, it really should have been multiples of 4. I didn't factor that in. But then in addition to that, the way I've done it here is that my squares have worked, or my mesh squares have worked out to be like 2 stitches wide. But because of like the structure I've used here, the solid squares are 4 double crochet wide, because let me bring it in close so I can sort of get you to see what I'm talking about. Is the light better? So here's my mesh stitches, right? They are 2 chains wide, and on either side of those 2 chains there is a double crochet which connects that, you know, to the previous round to create the square. However, because of like that structure, when I come to making my, let's get a blue one, my solid squares, so like here, I have my 2 double crochet in the middle, which represents the 2 chains, but then I have the 2 double crochet either side, so like the ones again that connect that to the previous round. And It just makes the solid squares look so much wider than the mesh squares. I mean, because they are. So I would need to, if I was going to do this again, like figure out the maths of that so that my solid squares end up the same size as the mesh squares. So yeah, this project, bit of a fail. Sometimes you just fail, that happens. I could, just bury this video and no one would ever see it, but like, what is the point of that? Failure happens to everyone, and I'm not going to run and hide from it. So yep, there we go. My failure on display for everybody to see. There is part of me that is a little bit disappointed. I did want a nice dinosaur filet crochet project, but just because I buggered up this one doesn't mean I can't revisit this project again in the future. In fact, that is something that I want to do because I would like to learn how to do filet crochet properly. To that end, if you have any suggestions for tutorials, perhaps ones that you've checked out yourself, please feel free to link those down in the comments and I will check them out. But today we're going to leave this one here, but we're not going to leave before we do. And today's featured creator on the hookup is Rustie, and she says, I have crocheted off and on for the last 40 years. During the pandemic, I picked up a hook and crocheted a scarf and then my oldest son a blanket except for the border. Last year I was bored at work and my mother-in-law gave me the suggestion to do a craft. Thus, I picked up the hook and finished 200 projects last year that includes blankets, stuffies, and wearables. This year I have taught myself to knit and have continued to enjoy my projects. 200 projects, that is a really bloody good effort, especially considering some of those were like blankets and wearables. They can take a hell of a long time, so thumbs up to you, good job. That's not something I've actually considered doing, counting up how many projects I make in a year. I mean, I could look back at my YouTube videos from previous years, but that's not reflective of my entire crochet journey, because I do make personal projects just off to the side, because as much as I love doing this, I don't want my crochet to be solely about YouTube. I do want to keep some of that separate, personal, just for my own personal enjoyment. Speaking of enjoyment, like I said, I acknowledge that I screwed up, but I did enjoy this. It was fun. It was just a bit of basic fun, which I'm glad that I took the time to do, even if the end result is, well, kind of shitty. Let's be honest, kind of shitty. But we will revisit it. Again, if you have any suggestions for tutorials, please drop those down in the comments. But outside of that, we are done here for today. So thank you for watching. If you stuck around to the end, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it, share it if you think it's worth sharing, and I will see you in the next one, which hopefully won't be as much of a spectacular failure as this.